was the housing finance sector, which has been in focus after the government's push for affordable housing. So we'll talk about that. But before that, as I was saying, there is a lot of volatility in the broader markets. There's a sharp fall over there, especially in some of the defense stocks. So Hindustan Aeronautics, BEL, BHEL, that whole lot. Suzlon is down 1.5%. Indus Towers, by the way, is down 6%. So there's definitely some trepidation there. But getting back to the big theme of the day, which is housing finance, the cabinet has expanded the rural housing scheme. Additional 3 crore houses will receive assistance under the scheme. To discuss more on this cabinet decision and its impact on the housing finance companies, we're joined by Tribhuwan Adhikari, who's the MD and CEO of LIC Housing Finance. Mr. Adhikari, congratulations on the company's Founders Day, and thank you so much for joining us, on CNBC-TV18. I wanted to start by asking you about your view on the affordable housing boost that has been announced by the government. Last time, how much did you receive from the government under the PMAY scheme, and how much had you asked for, and what, according to you, is the outlook now in terms of growth?
Well, as regards the announcement by the government, the scheme is still on the drawing board, not yet finalized. We've not received the finalized scheme as yet. We've been having a series of meetings with the ministry and the NHB, National Housing Bank. So expected that very shortly, probably in a month's time, the scheme will be on board. Yeah, as per the basic contours of the scheme, I think it's going to be more or less like the earlier PMAY, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, what we had. Well, in the earlier schemes from 2015 to 22, we had disbursed about 42,000 crores under the PMAY scheme, and it was quite a successful scheme, and we managed to reach out to a large number of people. I'm pretty optimistic about the new scheme also. I think it's going to give a big boost to the much needed affordable housing demand. There is a lot of demand in this sector. Unfortunately, the supply has been slightly on the shorter side. And I think it moves closer to the government's vision for housing for all. And it will have a multiplier effect, because housing is a sector which is labor intensive, leads to creation of jobs. Approximately 250 ancillary industries associated with the housing sector. So overall, I think it will be a big boost to the economy. It will give a big boost to the economy.
So, sir, just to clarify, you said 42,000 crores, right, was the amount that you received?
Yeah, that we had disbursed under the earlier PMAY schemes.
Okay, and how much had you asked for from the government?
Well, I think we had asked for 45. We got 42 and disbursed 42.
Okay, so what is the disbursement target that you have for FY25, FY26?
Yeah, we are looking at disbursing 75,000 crores of housing loans this year.
Mr. Adhikari, hi, morning. This target of 75,000 crores in disbursement, you're not factoring in the next round of PMAY in this, or are you? Because it's again a very ambitious plan, 3 crore houses.
Yes, but this is for the entire housing finance industry. Now let's see what is the share of the finance that we get, because it ultimately depends on that. We have in our discussions with the ministry and the NHB, we have said that approximately 25 to 35,000 units. We are in a position to disburse 25 to 35,000 units of PMAY loans in the current financial year. So that would all depend on what is the allocation to us. But being the largest housing finance company, I'm optimistic that we'll get a big share.
No, absolutely. Just to complete the point, what was your share of the previous version of PMAY? I mean, how much out of the total disbursement came to you?
Well, I don't have the exact figures. I think about our share would have been about in the region of 20%.
20%. And then again, coming back to that number of 75,000 crores of disbursements for FY25, right now that's just the regular business. You've not factored in the PMAY. So could this number be higher? Could your disbursements cross, say, 1 lakh crore if the PMAY next round also starts happening in the next couple of months?
Well, to clarify this, I think, as I said, PMAY has not been fully factored in because I do not know what is the sort of assistance I'm going to get. But we have factored in about 5 to 7,000 crores of PMAY into the 75,000.
Okay. All right. Hi, good morning, Mr. Adhikari, and congratulations on the company's Founders Day as well. So wishing you and the entire team well. Well, let's get a couple of numbers out of the way then. The rundown in your book is quite high, and you're guiding for disbursements of around 75,000 crores, which most analysts are working with as well. What about the AUM growth? What can we work with for FY25, FY26? Some on the street are expecting a number between 8 to around 10%. Is that doable?
Yeah. Yes, we are looking at a double-digit growth in the current financial year. Last year, we had some challenges initially, but those challenges have been overcome, and I'm I'm optimistic about a double-digit growth in AUM.
Double-digit will be around 10%?
Yeah, 10 to 12%.
Got it. All right, 10 to 12%. What about the NIM guidance? I'm reading a note which says that, you're gaining because of the floating rates. 50% of your liabilities are fixed. So what could the NIMs look like going ahead from here on, if you could give us the guidance?
Well, last year we ended with a NIM of 3.09%. We expect this to moderate a little bit this year, but not too much. Our guidance is between 2.7 to 2.9.
Okay. So I'll come back to your business in a bit, but before that, I also wanted your thoughts on the upcoming budget. There's, in the month of July. Affordable housing is a big space that the government has already given a push to. But from the budget, is there anything that you would be expecting for this sector?
Yes, definitely. The outlay, I believe, what was announced in the interim budget was more 24,000 crores for urban housing. Well, let's see. From what we're getting to hear, the budget the government may hike this figure, because this is as I said, it is a sector which gives a boost to the entire economy as a whole addition to job building, and then the various other industries associated. So the basic feedback we're getting is probably the government could go a little bit higher than 24,000 crores, but let's see what comes up. Ultimately, it would depend on what is announced in the budget.
Okay, so what would, sort of make the street happy? Around 25,000 crores has been the ask, and anything apart from the overall budget outlay, the number, anything else that you would expect for the sector?
Well, we have been talking about a few things. We are in our discussions with the ministry and the NHB. We have been talking of some tax breaks, maybe for the builders, so as to add to the supply, and also something to do with the registration cost of the cost of registration, rather, which is at approximately around about 7%, slightly high. Maybe some stops in that would help the housing finance industry and the builder industry.
Final question, sir. I think your guidance for credit costs is actually an improvement. Tell me if I'm looking at the right numbers. I think you're looking at 40 to 45 bips of credit cost in this year versus 60 basis points last year. If you could just tell us what are the drivers here and what's the overall outlook on asset quality?
Well, the asset quality has been improving. Yes, unfortunately, we have had legacy issues in the past, and the asset quality was slightly, I think, skewed. We have been working hard last year, the whole of last year and the years before that. Asset quality has improved. There has been my GNPA has come down from 4.4 to 3.3 last year. This year, we see a lot of scope for further improvement. Total stage 3 book size is around about 9,500 crores. On the builder book, or the wholesale book as we call it, it is about 2,500. The retail is approximately about 6,500. So we're looking for a lot of improvement in the asset quality, hoping to come down nearer to 2% by the end of this year, as far as GNPA is concerned.
Okay, and credit cost will be around 40 basis points?
Yeah, that is what we expect.
All right, and finally, before we wind this down, what about return ratios? On a price to book multiple, well, the company is placed pretty well. But what about the ROAs and the ROEs? Should we be working with around 1.5% and around 15% on both these two parameters?
Yes, ROE should be 16 plus. ROE should be 16 plus. And ROA, yes, but the guide ROA will be about 1.5 to 1.6.
Got it. All right, Ms. Adhikari, always good speaking to you. Thanks a lot for joining in here on CNBC-TV18. We'll hold you to those numbers. AUM growth of 10 to 12%. You're talking about asset quality improving and the NIMs in that vicinity of around 2.7 to around 2.9%. For the time being, though, we'll slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get chatting with Mr. Keshav Bajanka of Century Plyboards. Stay with us.